And we are live. Mayor Jameson.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. I am going to call the regular meeting of council for March 7th, 2022 to order. You have before you a copy of tonight's agenda. There is an addition under 6I, an excused absence for Councillor McGill. Looking for a motion to adopt as amended. Councillor Dufert, second by Councillor Grunewagen. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3, any declarations of interest? I'm going to start off. I will be declaring on item 6H as I am half owner of Haber Disposals and involves the company. So any other declarations? Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, thank you, Your Worship. One of the in-camera items, I believe I could potentially end up in a conflict there, so I'll just declare now, as it has to do with my employer.
Thank you. Any other declarations of interest for tonight's agenda? None being noted, we'll move on to item number 4, announcements, awards, ceremonies, and presentations. Hopefully everybody had a chance. I know Councillor Dufert was big time involved in the Canberra Carnival. It was good to see people out and about and having some fun in the dog sled races. So hopefully you had an opportunity to check out what was happening. And this weekend is Polar Pond hockey, and I'm sure Councillor Bouchard or Deputy Mayor will be in attendance big time. I know that both are big volunteers down there, so hopefully you get a chance to take that in as well. Very exciting. Got some alumni, so hopefully the community can get behind it, and I know there's a ton of work that goes in. Thanks again to all our volunteers. So with that, any other announcements, award ceremonies? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just a big thanks to everyone, all the volunteers and coordinators there from the last Canberra Carnival. It was nice to see things back, sort of getting back to normal there. It's great to see people out and about. And yeah, obviously you mentioned Polar Pond hockey, but the following week, for anyone interested, you'll be able to come out starting on the Wednesday and watch Mayor Jameson and myself curl in the territorial club curling championships being hosted by our local curling club. There's 8 teams involved, men's and ladies teams, and starts Wednesday and will go till Sunday. So hope to see some folks out there. I'll be there cheering on the mayor for sure.
Yeah, it's a few games. I don't know if I'll be able to still standing at the end of it. All good. Any other announcements? Councillor Bouchard, go ahead.
Yeah, just as you indicated, pond hockey this weekend. We built 10 reeks this weekend. They're going to do some flooding and stuff. We have over 30 teams registered right now, and hoping to get to that 40 mark. And like you said, we have some high elite NHL players and ladies hockey players coming in on Saturday. They're doing some stuff with some minor hockey early in the morning. And then they're part of a gala on Saturday, and we have a Save Pond Hockey Association for climate change group that's having a trade show at Pond Hockey on Sunday. So come on down and check out some of that climate change stuff. I know there's going to be an electric vehicle there. There's going to be Louise Schumann's been working on getting all the booths, and I think they sold all their booths and stuff. So we're looking to do some fundraising and hopefully get enough money to buy ourselves an electric Zamboni, I think is the legacy project. So I'm sure Steph might have some more discussion on that. So yeah, been good
stuff. Really good stuff. Thank you. Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to say quickly about the Canberra Carnival. The committee actually pulled that whole thing together, dog races, bingo, talent shows, everything with just 3 weeks. They didn't decide to the very end. So just want to say thank you too. It wasn't a very big group either, and they worked their butts off and did a wonderful job. And number 2, we'd like to wish a very happy birthday to our beautiful councillor, Emily Chambers. Her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Emily.
Anything further from council? Nothing noted. Anything from administration?
Nothing from administration, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item number 5, administrative inquiries, and I'll pass it back to our acting SAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. Director of Protective Services is off today. I did speak to him just prior to this meeting, confirmed he did not have any updates further to his report. So with that said, I will put it over to the Director of Recreation, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Some updates from the Department of Rec and Community Services this week. First and foremost, just bringing to council's attention that the GNWT eased some of the pandemic restrictions effective March 1st last week. The indication was that this was being done as the territory moves towards ending the public health emergency later this month. As a result of that announcement, council will be reviewing town management's recommendation to repeal the proof of vaccination protocols at the community center, as well as easing of the following pandemic measures, which were required at the community center to maintain fairly normal operations while the gathering order was in place. So the procedures which were lifted temporarily last week via public communication and that are being reviewed by council tonight include, as I mentioned, the proof vaccination protocols, COVID-19 sign-in and contact tracing lists at the customer service desk, reduced occupancy limits, which were previously identified under the gatherings order, and additional restrictions that were required for high-risk activities that were considered to be high risk. Those were mostly high-intensity exercises and on-ice activities. Local sport groups and rental groups remain responsible for their own pandemic restrictions, including proof vaccination requirements. That's been communicated to the local sport groups, and I've been in communication with quite a few of our community partners. I believe there's a good understanding of that, and a lot of the groups have made their own decisions, consulting with their territorial sport organizations when needed. The NWT-wide mandatory face mask requirement remains in order, and it will be in order at the community center until further notice from the GNWT. That said, that does mean that the community center has returned to some more normal operations, pending council's review and feedback tonight. We did have a hockey tournament at the community center this weekend. It was a great success. It did occur with the updated procedures that we had in place, and we didn't have we received lots of good feedback from the public, and it was good to see the place being busy and again returning to some normalcy there. It was good to see Canberra, and it was good to see some similar activities at the community center also. Further updates on programming. Our after-school program remains a success with about 75% capacity on a daily basis. We had some full-day youth programming activities during some recent professional development days at the schools. Those are at 90 to 100% capacity on those days. Those are very well appreciated by the public, and they continue to fill up very well. Swimmer numbers continue to increase, and they were particularly high last week. We had 563 swimmers, last week. That includes 335 over the weekend, again tied to the tournament. Those stats more than double our weekly statistics over the past few months here, and they resemble more our July statistics last summer, when we were having lots of summer camp groups and lots of kids that are out of school making use of the pool. We have, as previously mentioned to council, we've got curling, hockey, and skating special events booked on the weekends, pretty much all the way until the end of the ice season on April 10th. Just about every weekend is booked up with some special events that way. One last note on programming was that our maintenance staff were able to get out to the outdoor rinks more late last week, given that the weather was more seasonable. and we were able to clear the rinks and put some floods on there. And we posted that to the public, got some good feedback on that also. And I did see some skaters out there enjoying that good weather. As for myself, I did participate in some planning meetings and discussions regarding the Save Pond Hockey and Polar Pond Hockey event this weekend. I'm happy that the mayor and Councillor Bouchard brought that event up. It is a big event. I think 10 or 12 years of that event are ongoing, and this year is even bigger given that we have a partnership with the Climate and Sport Initiative, the town, Polar Pond Hockey, Arctic Energy Alliance, and several other groups that are on board. There are, I believe, 4 film crews from ESPN to Hockey Canada to Cabin Radio to the Climate and Sport Initiative group themselves that will be here and documenting some of the activities. Again, the idea is to bring attention to climate change issues using the sport and using pond hockey events themselves. And lastly, I'd like to mention that we do have some Hockey Canada women's hockey Olympic alumni. Megan Augusta will be in attendance. There are also 3 former NHLers that will be in attendance and participating in the activities on Sunday, as Councillor Bouchard mentioned. So we have Andrew Ferentz, Craig McTavish, and Curtis Glencross. No Wayne Gretzky, Councillor Duford, unfortunately. We also have Gavin Broadhead, who's a local product, and we're very proud to have Gavin, who's participated for the Medicine Hat Tigers in Alberta, then went on to some training through the RBC training grounds, through speed skating, and he's now a coach in Alberta at a very elite level, and we're happy to have Gavin participating as one of our local heroes. I also participated in some planning meetings with Trans-Canada Trail representatives last week. Those were to discuss our projects that we've had in 2019, 2020, 2021, and our goals for this year. Discuss their funding opportunities, which they're still kind of confirming the details with the federal government at this point, but they have indicated that there will be funding available, and we will be submitting an application to continue with our trail improvement work this summer. Also discussed trail expansion to include some additional trails in the Hay River area that are not currently included in the Trans-Canada Trail system. Big advantage there would be that it could provide access to some of those additional trails for the maintenance and improvements that are required on those. Those do include hopefully the ski club trails and some of the snowmobile trails around the area. And so that those discussions have started, and we hope to include those in the Trans-Canada Trail system. Long-term projects, the work does continue on our green space revitalization projects. We did issue an RFP for the design and manufacturing of the upgrading of the Welcome Monument at McMeekin Chamber Park. That includes consultation of stakeholders throughout the design process. And we will be coming back to council, as I've said previously, once that design process evolves. We also submitted an application to Department of Industry, Tourism and Investment for their tourism product development and marketing program for McMeekin Chamber Park. That would increase the budget from approximately $550,000, which is in the capital plan, to just about $700,000. I will be bringing a report to council regarding that application. Timelines were a little short, so we did submit the application, but we'll be sure to bring it to council for your review and your approval. Also submitted a smaller funding application to the NWT Arts Council, this one being $15,000, 100% funded by the NWT Arts Council for commissioning of local art projects for the beautification of our downtown core. If that funding application is approved, we'd be going through a consultation and an expression of interest to identify some local art and some green spaces that could benefit from it. That does fall under our current 10-year capital plan under the programming small cap program. Lastly, just like to bring to council's attention that the flower supply RFQ was awarded to a local supplier recently, and they've been informed of the fact, and we'll be in touch with them to confirm that order and be sure that we're ready for the spring and summer season, which the rec department has been discussing more and more and making plans for. Those are my updates at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Does council have any questions for our Director of Recreation? None being noted, back to acting SAO.
Thank you, Worship. We'll go next to the Director of Public Works, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple items I have as our report was just handed in there. So we'll be doing some snow removal downtown tomorrow, and after that, north. And on we'll be starting in 553 on Wednesday. We're going to get a contractor to come and give us a hand there because we never did make it to 553 on the last round. And also we're doing a little bit of brushing and tree clearing on Gates Drive for a little bit of line of sight work. It was really hard to see the two driveways on the east side. So hoping to have that all done and wrapped up by Thursday or Friday. So there'll be some traffic delays and we'll be posting to social media. It's only delays from 8 to 5:30, sorry. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for our Acting Director of Public Works? None being noted, back to our acting SAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the finance and administration front, as mentioned, or I'm sorry, I don't know if this was mentioned, our administrative office was closed today due in part to a COVID exposure. One of our employees was in the office this morning, went home and later tested positive. We're also experiencing a bit of a shortage of staff overall at this point. There's a couple of employees who are on leave and a couple of other employees who are at sick. So we've closed the office for today. We're anticipating we're going to be closed for tomorrow and reopening to the public on Wednesday. Phone calls are still being processed, emails are still being answered. So there's still a couple of employees in the office there to provide internal support. T4s were issued to all town employees last week, and we're continuing to work through the year-end audit process. And in addition to that, I've been working on some utility bylaw revisions, which we bring back to the Finance Committee in the not too distant future. Lastly, a quick reminder that business licenses are due on the 31st and rates have changed for 2022. So please review prior to remitting payment. I'll move on to SAO updates. Just have a few brief comments. Northwest Territories Power Corporation has submitted an application relating to the Tolston Overhaul project. The town has submitted to be an intervener on that. And this is separate from the rate application, which would follow any approval on the project. As Stefan mentioned, part of this, but we've been invited to submit a full application on 2 Canor projects. So that's for further consideration. First of which is the Hay River Community Revitalization Project, and the second of which is the Sundog Business Park Project. On the human resources front, we're at varying stages in the process for filling our ASAO job, Tourism and Economic Development Officer, and the Accounts Payable position. And SAO Smith should be back from his leave on Monday. And that concludes my updates.
Thank you, Sam. Any questions from council for our acting SAO, Director of Finance? List goes on. Nothing noted. Okay, moving on to item number 6, new business. 6A is the Emergency Services Monthly Report for February 2020. Looking for a motion. Oh, there we go. Councillor Bouchard, go ahead.
Thank you, Bishop. I move that the Council of Town of Haver approve the Emergency Services Activity Report for February 2022 as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions to the motion? None noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6B is your Municipal Enforcement Monthly Report for February 2022. Looking for a motion. Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the municipal enforcement report for February 2022 as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by? Councillor Wall. Any questions to the motion? Councillor Willows, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's probably more of a question or comment than question, and I appreciate the director's not here, so I don't necessarily need an answer right at the moment, but just to put it out there. Our previous bylaw enforcement officer had developed a statistical sheet of all sort of tickets that were issued, all sort of stops that were made, and was sort of had a monthly count of infractions. So I'm just curious if once the new officer is up and running, if that statistic sheet will be coming back out again. And I just have one question. In the report, there was something that said ticketing traffic violations when active presence is ineffective. I don't know what that means.
I think that means that he has been actively present in the school zones, and if that doesn't slow them down, then they will start being ticketed. If warnings and education doesn't help, I believe is the idea there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I will note your stat sheet. I had a note to myself to talk about council priorities with the new bylaw as well. So yeah, it's in the works and it is duly noted. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. 6C, Public Works Monthly Report for February 2022. Looking for a motion. Councillor Chambers, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the Public Works Monthly Report for February 2022 as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6D, Recreation Monthly Report for February 2022. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River accepts the report entitled Recreation and Community Services Monthly Report for February 2022 as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. 6E, Letter of Support for Soaring Eagle Friendship Center. Looking for a motion. Councillor Willows, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Council of the Town of Hay River directs administration to draft a letter supporting the Soaring Eagle Friendship Center's application for healthy choice funding by government of the NWT.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Bouchard. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 6F, award tender for recreation truck. Looking for a motion. Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the purchase of an F-150 XLT pickup truck from Aurora Ford Sales Limited for the amount of $59,840.
Thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any questions to the motion? Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Not a question, just a comment that it was nice to see that our local hire policy, Aurora Ford was not quite the lowest bid, but it was certainly in the ballpark, and they were able to get it with our local hire policy. So that was nice to see it in action.
Thank you. Councillor Bouchard.
Yeah, just a question on the warranty. We chose to go with a 5-year warranty plan as opposed to the other ones. Just what was the rationale there?
Thank you. I'll pass that back to our acting SAO.
Thank you, Worship. I'll direct that question to our Director of Recreation.
Thank you, Your Worship. The capital plan identified $60,000 for the purchase, and that was the warranty that allowed us to stay within budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council? None noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. 6G, lifting of proof of vaccine requirements. Looking for a motion. That one shouldn't be hard to find. Councillor, Deputy Mayor, sorry.
Lots of hands for that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River approves the recommendation that the Town of Hay River ease pandemic restrictions at the Hay River Community Center, including the lifting of proof of vaccination requirements in response to a February 25th GNWT news release, which eases pandemic restrictions as the territory moves forward, ending the public health emergency.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows, I believe. All in favor? Or any questions? I guess I should make a comment first. We did lift them on the 1st of March, the moment we were able to do so. There was a part in the original motion that spoke to public health easement, so went with that. We're just crossing our T's and dotting our I's here, guys. So any other comments, questions? Councillor Bouchard, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Just big shout out to our staff. I know it's been stressful, and hopefully we can move forward from this. It has been a pain in the butt, and it's been, you know, obviously contentious with some people, and some divided the community. Hopefully we can move forward from here. So yeah, thanks for the staff for putting up some of that stress.
Yes. If our Director of Recreation can pass that on, because I know it's always been last minute as well that we're trying to move and change direction. So yes, thank you. Any further comments, questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. I am going to declare conflict on this. I'll pass it over to Deputy Mayor Dowie and let me know when I'm welcome back.
I think we'll probably have to, this is the sort of background, and then we'll have the bylaw itself. So I'm not sure if Mayor Jameson plans on declaring on both. I would assume likely, but in the meantime, can we get someone to make the recommendation? Councillor Walt, go ahead.
I move to the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Hay River approve the new bylaw 2432 solid waste management bylaw to replace the current bylaw 619 garbage collection bylaw as recommended by the Policy and Bylaw Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. A seconder? Councillor Willows. Are there any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Bouchard.
Can we just have staff kind of do an overview? I know there's an overview here, but just some of the major changes that we're making there. I think it's mostly tied around to our new contract and some of the things we wanted to change in the bylaw before we move forward with that. But and then I was just wondering, while you have me on here, is there a way that we could put 8B on the agenda right after this item, so we can, because of the online process, it might be easier to skip ahead in the agenda and then call the mayor back into the meeting, and then we don't have to jump in and out. Just comment there. So yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bouchard. Maybe while we're while the acting SAO has given us a rundown, maybe we could have Stacy just take a look at the process there. I'm not sure if we need a motion to change the agenda. I think we probably do, but maybe we can have Stacy check on that quick if possible. And acting SAO.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll put this over to our Director of Public Works for comment.
Thank you, Your Worship. This went to the Policy and Bylaw Committee long before I was here. I really don't know the history beyond this, so that's all I've got.
That was oddly brief, Acting Director of Public Works. Yeah, I mean, I think we can probably take a bit of a stab at it. I know Councillor Bouchard's on the policy committee, and as am I. This was at the policy committee a while back. Unless the acting SAO has anything he'd like to add to that, but we can probably take a brief stab at it, or even read through some of what is there in the public document. It's a lot of it is cleanup and some housekeeping stuff. Not a lot of noted major changes, but we said the old bylaw is old enough that we couldn't have a digital copy, even have a digital copy of it sent to us. So acting SAO.
Yeah, thank you for that comment, Deputy Mayor. I wasn't involved in a lot of the detailed work on this. It's something that I'm sure SAO Smith could speak to at length when he was here, or when he's back here. But yeah, I don't know how you want to approach this. Do you want to go through some of the report, or proceed?
Yeah, maybe if you could, Sam. We don't have it in front of us anymore. I think Stacy's probably searching up the process to change the agenda, but maybe if you could run through a little bit of that there, please, Sam.
Yeah, it's a pretty substantial document here. It identifies numerous sections where there are updates that were made. I'm not really privy to what the major changes in this bylaw were. Councillor Groenewegen, is his hand up there?
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Groenewegen.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to say there were some of the councillors that are present here tonight that were, I think, involved in the original discussion that took place in committee. I think the easiest way to summarize it would be that there aren't really any significant changes. This really is a modernization. I don't believe that there are any of the content of the document that is overly intriguing, and it is as it reads. It's quite self-explanatory. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Groenewegen. Yeah, I mean, there's Councillor Duford. Go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to echo Councillor Groenewegen's comments that I was sitting in on those meetings too. And as I recall, it was just basically an update. It was just so old that there's no material differences that I can recall. Thank you.
Yeah, agreed, Councillor Duford. And I'm sure Councillor Bouchard probably feels the same, but maybe that was more of the comment that he was looking for, is that the public can be rest assured that there's not any major changes. You're still getting your garbage picked up on the same days, and all of those things are still in place. So
yeah,
does that satisfy your question there, Councillor Bouchard?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just looking to point out the fact that there's not major changes. We're just cleaning up the bylaw before we have the tender goes out, or the tender's completed.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Deputy Mayor, it doesn't say much in there about moving stuff around.
Okay.
However, it's really easy if she leaves and comes back. Like right now, I have her in the waiting room, and all I have to do is click to let her back in.
Okay.
So whatever's easier for you guys.
If it's easy for you, then we can do it that way. So you can. Are we all in favor of the report? Okay, moved. And Stacy, you can let Mayor Jameson back in.
She's on her way back in.
This seems so easy.
Yeah, maybe I suggest we move forward.
The host was not allowing me to unmute. Sorry, guys. I tried every button imaginable. Sorry about that. Okay, moving on to item 6I, excused absence for Councillor McGill. Looking for a motion. Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Bay River approved an excused absence from the regular meeting of Council for Councillor McGill on February the 7th, 2022.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Oh, sorry. Yep. All in favor. Okay.
Not a question, Your Worship, but I think Councillor Dufert said February.
Oh, March. Yes. Thank you, March. COVID, you know.
Okay,
yeah.
March. All in favor with March change? Thanks. Motion carries. Item number 7A. We have a notice of motion. Councillor or Deputy Mayor.
Your Worship, I'll move that the Council of the Town of Hay River strike a subcommittee of council to take the place of the former interagency committee group.
Looking for a seconder. Councillor Wall. I will comment on this. We struck a committee, the CEO of the hospital and myself, back when COVID first happened, to deal specifically with our homeless population. And during the process, we found that most members of that group were past members of the interagency group, including myself. Went back and talked to the lady that was the last chair of the interagency group, and she's not interested in chairing anymore. So in speaking with Erin as well, or the CEO of the hospital, Mrs. Griffith, and our deputy mayor, I think this is the way to do this. And we've had 2 sudden deaths in this community in the last week or 2 weeks, I guess. And so there's more than just homelessness that needs to be dealt with. So Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak further on this subject?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. You know, I forwarded this notice of motion last week, early last week, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday. Said after some conversations with yourself, and you know, I'd had a lot of residents reach out to me, especially lately, that are increasingly concerned about the growing drug problem in the community. I'm sure everyone on council shares those concerns. And I know, like you had alluded to, Your Worship, there had been a working group in place, and you know, this motion is in no way at all to try to take away from the work that's been done by them. And in fact, I thank yourself and Councillor Willows and Aaron and everybody else that's involved, and I'm hoping that everyone that is involved are clearly interested stakeholders and would hopefully stay involved in this new version of this interagency committee. I think most of our community remembers pretty clearly when Constable Chris Warden was murdered, and you know, it was something that we all, you know, the community really rallied, and we all swore that nothing like that would ever happen again here. And today is actually coincidentally the International Day of Remembrance for fallen officers. And as much as I hate to say it, I believe the drug problem in Hay River is worse now than it was then. I think we're in the midst of a crisis. And you know, in the past year alone, personally, I know 6 people that have lost their lives due to drugs in one way or another. And if not all local, at least with very deep-rooted connections to Hay River. So we've got people in the community that are profiting from death, and they're dealing in the destruction of lives and families in our community. And a lot of people are really reeling from it and don't know where to turn. And you know, people are afraid to speak up or won't speak up because they don't think that it impacts them directly. But you know, if you just look down the road at what happened in Fort Smith over the weekend, how quickly things can impact an entire community. You know, there's others that are probably struggling hard with addiction that may not know where to turn. So I think that this committee is a good step forward in addressing some of these issues. And, the town is not equipped to deal with these issues on their own. We don't have the resources. And I think a lot of the impacted agencies don't have are in the same boat. Nobody has the resources to deal with these issues alone. So I think, engaging a group like this, I know the former interagency committee done a fantastic job, and I know that you guys have kept the wheels rolling on that. And just kind of off the top of my head, I'd like to see the RCMP involved, our ambulance service, the Indigenous local Indigenous leadership, justice, education, health, housing. I mean, just off the top of my head. But I think that these are the people that, we will be able to work together to come to some solution, or at least work towards solving some of these problems. I think if we can identify, together where there's gaps or things that are missed, or maybe a shortage of resources, if we're all pulling in the same direction together, I think we'll do potential to do a lot of good. There's probably not any kind of magic bullet to solve this issue, because it's multi-pronged. It's not just enforcement. It's not just housing. It's not just addiction or mental health issues. But I do feel that we're in a crisis, and I think with this structured as a subcommittee of council, we'll be able to stay informed, and at least when our residents are coming to us with concerns, we'll have some answers, or we'll have directions to send them with their concerns. And my suggestion would be to council that the policy committee draft terms of reference with engaging yourself, your worship, and others that are currently working on this, and bring it back to council for approval. And then we get a expression of interest out as soon as possible, so that a group could get to work should this pass. Thank you,
Deputy Mayor. Just a couple more comments. The committee that exists now has the Soaring Eagle Friendship Center on it, persons with disabilities, RCMP, MLAs, Hay River Health and Social Services, Justice, Housing, KFN, West Point. I think there's that we have some other groups that are missing. I do believe it's going to take strong leadership and all of us working together to find solutions and hopefully try and mitigate some of the fallout from what's going on. It's good to have the decision makers at the table for each organization, because that certainly helps move us forward. I know a big piece of interagency was breaking down those silos, I guess you could say, and finding common ground and finding solutions. So I look forward to, I am meeting with the group tomorrow and letting them know that we are interested in making it a committee of council, and taking away hopefully some terms of reference and what they suggest as well, bring it back to our policy committee. So with that, if there's no further comments or questions from council, Councilor Berger, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. I support this motion. I think it's, I think we have several issues in the community, and we've dealt with them. And I think they're usually intertwined, like Deputy Mayor and yourself indicated. There's complexity, and it usually involves several different organizations, and some of them are part of their side of their desk and stuff like that. And I think with the town's structure, we'll be able to lead the group forward and keep it on an agenda and a schedule type thing, so that some stuff gets looked at anyways. And just those conversations of sitting around talking about some of the stuff, that's where peak ideas come up, and ideas that hopefully help the community in the long run. So yeah, I support the concept for sure.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? None being noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 8, on to bylaws. 8A is bylaw 2440, Old Town Fire Hall Disposal Bylaw. Looking for a motion. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move first reading of bylaw number 2440, Old Town Fire Hall disposal bylaw.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Wall. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Looking for second reading. Bylaw 2440. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move second reading of bylaw number 2440, Old Town Fire Hall disposal.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And I am going to declare conflict again on this. Passing it over to Deputy Mayor, and hopefully I don't have as many problems coming back in. Thanks, guys.
Okay, let's try this again. Do we have a mover for the solid waste bylaw? Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll move first reading of bylaw number 2432, 9B, solid waste bylaw. Well, that's our 9B is for us. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Dufert. Any questions? Sorry, we need a seconder on that as well. Councillor Bouchard. All in favor? Okay, carried. Can we get a mover for second reading? Councillor Dufert.
Thank you again, Deputy Mayor. I'll move second reading of bylaw number 2432, solid waste bylaw.
And a seconder. Councillor Grunewagen. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Motion's carried. Councillor Bouchard, you're not muted there, just FYI.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
Sitting at home by myself and quiet.
So you don't start singing or something.
You don't want that.
Okay, so moving on to item number 8C, bylaw 2439, forgiveness bylaw. Looking for first reading. Oh, Councillor Grunewagen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I move first reading of bylaw 2439, 9C, forgiveness bylaw.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Willows. Any questions to the motion? Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, just like this is something I don't recall ever actually seeing in front of us in the past. I don't. Obviously, some of these are very long standing, and I don't know what the process is before we can get to this point. But I do wonder about a couple of these. They're kind of surprising, specifically the shooting club. Like I knew they were doing quite a bit of work out there right up until I believe last summer. So I'm wondering, and maybe Councillor Grunewagen, I think he was involved in the past. Are they aware that they've forgiven their lease?
I can speak to some of it. Most of these are 7 years old. These were in our written off debt in our previous financial. So this is doing some cleanup work, a lot of it. As you know, anything over 7 years is dead in the water. But some of these stem from, if it's not leases or a clerical error that we need to fix, it is where we don't have an asset to go back on. So, you know, all avenues have been explored. I'm going to pass it back to our acting SAO to speak on, in particular, to the gun club. Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor Jamieson precisely described the issue there. You know, there's instances where either there was taxes were levied in error, and once that levy is done, we can't go in and just remove it. The majority of these items on this list are where there was a mobile home that no longer exists, and so there's no recourse against that. I'd have to pull the specifics on that shooting club file to know where that error occurred, but it doesn't have anything to do with their current lease arrangement. It was administrative type of error. So that represents the bulk of those, the bulk of that list. We have been reviewing what options we have for more current debts within Property Assessment Taxation Act. There are specific rules about how municipalities can go after delinquent parties, and there is recourse where we can take that debt out of PATA and pursue civil judgments against individuals, which we're currently entertaining that because this is still an ongoing issue that we deal with as a municipality. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bouchard, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about, so is this, by doing this and this forgiveness, does it remove it completely, or is it just something we're taking off our books and then we may be able to collect in the future? I'm just wondering if that's what the process is here.
These are uncollectible, Councilor Bouchard. We are writing them off.
Okay, I'm just looking at it. Like Councilor Dowie said, I'm looking at a couple names that I know are still in the community. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I hear you. Acting SAO, go ahead.
Yeah, in a perfect world, this would be a document that comes before council annually. And there would be a little bit more of a fire under administration to potentially go after in instances where it makes sense. There's going to be circumstances where the cost of pursuing for damages is going to be greater than what you would receive, but there also needs to be a sufficient deterrent in place to discourage non-payment. Through the tax sale auction that we have, that is still the most effective. Even though we don't typically sell that many properties at auction, it does force individuals to pay. So that is the most effective disincentive we have for non-payment. But yeah, this is something that we should be reviewing and bringing forward annually as we reach that 7-year maximum.
Thank you. Any further questions? None being noted. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Looking for second reading of bylaw 2439, forgiveness bylaw. Councillor Grunaway again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move second reading in bylaw 2439, forgiveness bylaw.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 8D, bylaw 241/PS/22A, bylaw appointment update. Looking for a motion? Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move first reading of bylaw number 2411 PS22A, Protective Service Specialist appointment.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Looking for second reading of bylaw 2411. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move second reading of bylaw number 2411 PS22A, Protective Services Specialist appointment.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 9, I'm looking for a motion to go in camera. Councillor Dufert, seconded by Councillor Bouchard. Any questions to the motion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask each and every one of you to turn on your mics and Do you solemnly swear and sincerely affirm that you are alone and cannot be overheard well in camera? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I swear.
Councillor Willows.
I swear.
Councillor Bouchard.
I swear.
Councillor Wall.
I swear.
Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Your Worship, I swear.
Councillor Grunaway.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I swear.
Councillor Chambers.
I swear.
Okay, guys, I don't know what time I got here. I have got 7:25, so back at 7:30, give you 5 minutes and we'll meet back here. Thank you to our directors. I'm not sure who Sam has staying behind, but hope everybody has a good week. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Just the Director of Public Works, please.
Okay, so we take a 5-minute break, Louis? Or?
You got to stay, but we're all going to take 5.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go watch part of the house.
We're still live. We're still